Good morning, Cohort 2. I hope you're doing well. Welcome to another exciting edition, maybe not super exciting, but exciting nonetheless, of your Tuesday Tune-In. Really good to see you this morning. I come to you this morning, going to tell you a little bit about what we covered. We'll talk about what's coming next, and then one of the new things that just came out last week. I'm going to kind of show it to you. And it's pretty exciting stuff, but we'll go over it. I hope you're doing well. It is again November 7th. I cannot believe how fast the semester is flying by. But I want to talk a little bit about where we are right now, what we just finished up, right? So on Sunday, Module 5 was due, right? So Module 5 is a fun module in that it talks about the possibilities for not only leveraging multimedia in your courses as an instructor, but it also speaks to how you can make your students creators. And I would challenge you that no matter what your subject matter, you can make your student a content creator when it comes to multimedia. Even if it's just having them demonstrate something about their knowledge or what they know, right? Whether that be from a presentational standpoint or a show and tell standpoint. Maybe if you're thinking of they're a graduate student in history, perchance, they could go out to a historical site and give kind of a tour and talk about it. Or for instance, another history option that I found was pretty cool was, let's say I'm teaching a history class and I have my students do a narrative of from the perspective of a person in a specific subset of time or historical figure, and I'll make it some kind of a multimedia journal entry, right? Where you share some pictures about what's going on, some historical events, and you speak in the person that you're trying to talk about or form that narrative about. So anyway, if it's a math class, for instance, having an assignment where you have a student walk through a problem and demonstrate how they got from A to B in one sitting, right? Or think about a coding class the same way, how you work through the programming and where you do things. Just snippets, little small snippets. It doesn't have to be grand, right? There are opportunities for multimedia in many places, places you probably wouldn't think. And I guarantee you can find out there in what I love to call our cognitive surplus, right? Your professional learning communities, on the internet, journals, peer-reviewed research. There are opportunities and options for you to implement these kinds of practices with your students in your courses. So, that being said, your videos this week on your multimedia assignment, your welcome video, absolutely wonderful thus far. I really liked how I saw some of you use them as a way to walk your students through your course, giving them that preview, right? Much like we did in our orientation webinar, where we did that and we walked you through how the course worked. Letting your students know what success looks like, how they can navigate through that course is always a good option when it comes to a online or a hybrid or an online live. Even a web-enhanced course, it's beneficial. So kudos to you all. You did some great work. I'm going to take a step back and talk about the previous module, which was where we talked about student learning outcomes. Great work there. Saw lots of good examples of what those objectives and outcomes might be. There were still a couple of times where people were wanting to use learn as their main verb. And remember that learn is not something that you can easily measure, or understand also, not necessarily easily measure. Remember to start with that action word. Create, analyze, discuss, debate. Things that you can actually measure. And I actually have a really good graphic in the resources for that module where you can find words that line up with what you're trying to do. So anyway, enough about that. Now to talk about the future. So coming up after the multimedia module, so the multimedia module was due on Sunday. On Thursday, module 4, and on Thursday, module 6, and on Sunday, module 7. Now, module 6 is fun in that we talk about collaboration and communication and how I can provide opportunities for my students to communicate and collaborate throughout the course, whether that be in a group or a case study or any kind of activity where I can have my students work together. We don't have to go, we can lean back into people like Piaget and thinking about social learning and the importance of that and where we can find some value. Now, I'm not saying some of you are teaching some very specific subject matter, and having students work together in some of that subject matter is no. According to your accreditation body, you can't do that. I would say there are other ways that you can foster that communication, let them feel like they're in a community. Maybe it's a side project, or maybe it's just how they interact with each other as they work through the course. But there are opportunities. I think you'll find it in one of them that we have in here called Share the Surplus. But inside that module, there's an activity that you'll be doing called course expectations. And one of the best ways to reduce anxiety for your students is to make sure that they know what's expected of them and what's expected of you. So I ask that you share those, and we give you some examples of how those might work. And the good news is if you haven't created a document like that, you do and as part of this activity, and then you can make it available in your own courses. Okay, Module 7, which is due Sunday. This is the second to last module. You're almost there, folks. Can you believe we're only going to have one more Tuesday tune-in? What will we do? Anyway, assignments and assessments. This is a big one, especially now as we think about the challenges that we're all facing when it comes to making sure that our students are actually thinking critically, making sure that our students are finding opportunities to demonstrate integrity in their learning. And a lot of that comes from, some of it obviously comes from, you're going to establish policies, and you're going to have obstacles that you put in their path to make it harder to do the thing that's not full of integrity. But more importantly, the practices that you put into place to make your assessment authentic and effective are going to help, right? And I would challenge you that no matter what kind of class you teach, there are ways you can make your strategies better. So in this specific module, the assignments and assessments module, right? There's some good content in here we want you to go through, and you read through the objectives. We give you an introduction on the overall assessment strategy, but I want you to take a look specifically at this particular object here. This is our 5 hallmarks of effective assessment. One of your assignments is going to be to come up with an overall assessment strategy. I want you to leverage these hallmark headings as you think about your assessment strategy assignment, right? When you put together that assignment, try to put stuff underneath each of the headings on how you'll be working on that overall assessment strategy. How do your assessments, how are they developed from the outcomes, right? How are you using a variety of measures, So anyway, just work through these as you think about that overall assessment strategy assignment, and I hope it'll be worthwhile for you. Okay, enough about that. Now for some fun. So, recently, we actually put together there's a new feature. You remember, we've had the AI Design Assistant. Well, now the AI Design Assistant added a new feature for instructors. And what I like about it is that it allows you to, it also is a change in how you insert images in Blackboard. Now, we've already been through the insert images assignment in this particular course. We're going to change that going in the future. Actually, I'm going to have to change the instructions for the next cohort because Blackboard fixed this up for us. But you're going to be allowed to, or not allowed, now you're going to be able to insert images when you open up your content editor in places like Ultra Documents, journals, discussions, course messages. You're going to see the little image button, and that's what you'll do to insert image. But there is a next step to that, right? There's a next level to that, and that is you get the benefit of the AI Design Assistant and Unsplash. What do I mean by that? So let's say, for instance, how do I can create an Ultra document here called, and I'm going to hit create under my Start Here unit in this particular course. I'm going to click on document, and I'm going to say who to contact when you need help. Right? That's going to be the name of this particular document. Then I'm going to choose to add my content. Now, your instructor, or the text that I want to put in. Here's where I would type in, when you've got this kind of an issue, contact your instructor. When you've got this kind of an issue, contact the support desk. Now, I want you to see now on your content editor, they've added a new button. Right next to the attach button, there's an insert image button. Ta-da! This happened last week. It became available on Friday, and you have access to it now. So woohoo for you. Click on that insert image button, and you see this is where I can either drag an image or upload it. But you'll notice that there is a couple other small details here, right? Look here, upload from device. What if I hit this little drop down? Dun, da, da, stock images from Unsplash or generate images. So I can use that Unsplash just like I can in my course banner or my module images. I can now use it in lots of other places. Yay! And then the same thing with generate images with the AI Design Assistant. So just know that these options are here for you. Remember, when you use them, the terms that you use to create or find those images are going to be important. So for example, if I choose stock images from Unsplash, contact and help, it took from my title. And I can then immediately go, oh, well, look, I can find one of the images that it gives me, and I can be fun and do this the old phone, ta-da, and a call box or a phone booth, right? And make that the image that I insert. Now, one of my favorite things about this is because if I'm using Unsplash, it's going to pull some things for me. And you'll see here that you've got other options too, like how do I want it landscape, portrait, do I want it square, the original, all these kinds of things. So if I hit square, it makes it a little smaller and I get just that, right? And then I can change landscape and portrait, but I can also do this after the fact too. Well, I'll show you in a second. But now I've selected what I want, I'm gonna hit next. What I love about this is when I use Unsplash, it pulls the alt text from Unsplash for me. So I don't have to put that in there. I'm automatically being accessible because I'm using Unsplash. It's bringing over that alt text. Woohoo! And I choose view. And then I hit save. And then it's in there. Then if I wanted to, I can click my image and make it smaller, right? Just by clicking it and getting access to those boxes. In the same vein, I can use the Generate Images tool. So I can come under here, come back, choose Generate Images. And by default, it's gonna pull from my title, but I can change that image. You need to reach out to heaven if you need help. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. So if I change the image just by typing in the word help and let the AI generator go and find what, or build what it is that they're looking for, I'm still a touch giggled or amused at the hand of God reaching down. Oh, yep, yet again. So help. You need to be a little bit more firm. So maybe I do something like technical support, right? Or you find an image that's going to work for you. It may not be. I might choose help sign instead. That might actually have been a better image to generate. Again, so help sign. Sometimes what it pulls is not exactly the best thing. So it might be that I need to choose a better, help might not be the word that I want to use in this respect, but you get my point. So you can generate what you're looking for here as well, right? Aha! So again, this is amazing. The help signs here are completely misspelled, which is what you get with AI. So that's going to be the challenge for you, is finding the text that might work, finding those types of things, right? So contact. Anyway, you find the image you want to add, and then you add it and you bring it in, and there it is. But the Unsplash, amazingly enough, gives you the alt text, which I love. So again, the ability for you to do this as an instructor is wonderful, because you get to do it not only in Ultra documents, but in journals, discussions, assessment attempts. That's for students, and course messages. So your students are able to use that insert image button too. They don't have access to AI. Just to be clear, right? There's no way they can do that, or they have to insert images on their own. Or Unsplash. Only you get that. You have access to AI and Unsplash. They just use a tool, a button to insert an image. Just so you know. All right. Well, I hope all of my morning rambling was helpful. I hope you know where you're going for this next week and where you've been for this last week. And I look forward to continuing to go with you on this journey through your certification process. As always, you can feel free to send us an email if you have any issues. And our email address for the team is facdev, which is FACDEV @shsu.edu. And Elliot Faith and myself will be more than glad to answer. Thanks a lot, y'all, and have a great day.